What's up everyone, my name's PT from Charlie Intel. So the term remake is very commonly used in the Call of Duty community, whether it be that people really want a remake of a certain map, or they're crying out for a remake of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Either way, it's a very popular discussion, so I figured to talk about it in this video and cover 3 key points. So the first being, what Call of Duty game could they remake? The second point being, how would it be released? And thirdly, is it really what we want, / would people even buy it? So the big question, of course, is what game should they remake? Well, realistically speaking, literally every Call of Duty game is eligible for a remake before, let's say, Call of Duty Ghosts. So remaking Call of Duty Ghosts probably wouldn't be a fan favourite, nor would it make sense because it's already come out on next-gen consoles. But I'd say anything from Black Ops 2 or before, so anything from Call of Duty 1 back in 2003 all the way up to Black Ops 2 is probably eligible for a remake, and I think we'd probably buy it as well. But it all comes down to whether it makes business sense for Activision. So whether they release it as an entirely new release for a particular year, so let's say 2016, Infinity Ward come along and release Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare as a remake, of course. Realistically, we'd love that. I think we'd go mad over it, but it all comes down to, again, whether that makes business sense to Activision and whether the wider player base of Call of Duty would be willing to commit to paying for a remake all over again, and whether they want to replay the same game over again, having paid like 50 quid. That's really what it comes down to, and of course whether it will affect the sales of Activision. So again, like us as the hardcore fan base of Call of Duty would love to see a Call of Duty 4 remake, but realistically speaking, would the wider audience who probably play Call of Duty more casually, and they're willing to buy every game every year, but then might not be willing to buy a remake because to them it wasn't like the best Call of Duty and it's just like a 7 or 8 year old game now. And then it comes down to how do they decide which game they should remake. So do they do a poll? Do they put it on the Call of Duty community forum perhaps and have everyone vote for which game they think that should be remade? Or do they do like a Twitter competition where they have everyone vote by using a certain hashtag, and then whoever does the most hashtag tweets wins? It's very difficult for them to gauge which game would be well received amongst the Call of Duty community, because again, we might be very quick to say that Call of Duty 4 makes complete sense because of course we're the hardcore players of Call of Duty who've probably purchased literally every Call of Duty game since 2003, whereas the wider audience who might be starting to play Call of Duty for the first time, so let's say they're 12 or 13 years old and they've never played Call of Duty 4 before in the past, to them when they play Call of Duty 4 they're going to think, oh, this is crap. This is really, this is nothing compared to Advanced Warfare. Whereas us, the more hardcore and veteran audience of Call of Duty, we're going to think this is the best thing ever done. Like, forget Advanced Warfare, forget Call of Duty Ghosts, forget anything next gen. We want next gen Call of Duty 4 because 7 years ago, or 8, I don't even know how long ago it was now, but yeah, 7 or 8 years ago, that was the best Call of Duty title, and it always will be, and it doesn't matter anymore what you release. We just want to remake, full stop. That's all we care about. So this brings me on to how they do it. So realistically speaking, we're not going to see an entirely new release based on a remake. So Infinity Ward are going to come along in 2016, but they're definitely not going to release a remake of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare because, again, as I was saying previously, number one, it won't make business sense. Number two, we've kind of already played it, so would we really want to pay £50 to play it again? Number three, the player base has changed hugely since we played Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. So whilst the more veteran Call of Duty player base will still probably buy it, the newer Call of Duty player base who's perhaps playing Advanced Warfare as their first game and they're 12 years old or so probably has no interest in playing Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Like, it'd be great education for them because they'd see how this game has evolved and also play questionably one of the best Call of Duty titles ever. But again, like, realistically to them, they'd just look at that game and think, oh hey, like, you know, it's come out before, it looks old, we want new stuff, we want future. And it's kind of a funny point because a lot of us really want the game to go backwards in terms of era, so we want it to go back to World War II, for example. Whereas I'd be interested to hear what the newer player base want it to go in terms of direction, and I'm pretty inclined to say they'd want it to go forward, more so in the future, and get it to the Halo point. Again, you know, that's probably not the best idea, but the differing thoughts and different opinions from player base to player base in terms of age and how long they've been within the franchise is obviously a factor. So if we were to see a remake, I think it'd probably be in the form of a DLC map pack, for example. So let's say Infinity Ward come along next year and they release their game, Ghost 2 for example. They might also release a map pack containing all the multiplayer maps from Call of Duty 4. I'd be down for buying that 100%, and like if they charge, let's say, £10 or £15 for it, I think it would sell very well. And it might also allow the young audience who haven't played Call of Duty 4 to experience the previous maps that we played, and it will all be in HD, so it'd be amazing. The second option is to choose a specific game which we might be able to vote by, and then they release it as a game that you can download on the marketplace. So for example, kind of like an arcade release, you pay, let's say, £10 or £15. You definitely don't pay retail price for the remake, 100%. I don't think I'd be for that whatsoever. But perhaps selling in the region of like £10 to £20, you pay that amount and you have a HD remake of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, because that's the game that most people have voted for. To me, that would make sense, and it would allow everyone to experience that game again. But it might not make sense to Activision, because they're always going to want to push their new game. So let's say Advanced Warfare comes along and they also release a HD remake of Call of Duty 4, they might find the player base who is actually playing online on Advanced Warfare is adversely affected based on the fact that people will probably be playing Call of Duty 4 Remake. So realistically, again, I'd probably see it as more of a DLC map pack from an Infinity Ward for their next game. Anyway guys, let me know what you think about this in the comments section below. If you're for or against the idea of having a Call of Duty remake, and also how would you like it to be released? Would you like it as DLC, an entirely new Call of Duty release, or perhaps like an extra release halfway through the year, for example? Also, be sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, because this is in fact the new place for all Charlie Intel content going forward, so it's definitely a place to subscribe to. Anyway guys, I appreciate you watching this video. Goodbye.